Hey guys, what's up? So in today's video, I want to talk about Carnival Cruise and whether I think it's a good long-term investment or not. But if you haven't seen the previous video I made on Carnival Cruise, make sure to check it out in the link down below. I'm planning on doing a short-term trade with the stock, so I think you'll find that very informative. But this video is me focusing on the long-term perspective of Carnival Cruise. So in short, I'll just say it. I don't think Carnival Cruise is a good long-term investment. And the reason for it is the financial situation they've gotten themselves in from the health crisis. It's gonna be really hard for them to dig themselves out of this hole. So in this video, I'm just gonna be going through the financials and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so Carnival Cruise's ticker symbol is CCL. And here we're going to look at their financials. This is their income statement. So their income statement is going to build into the next part, so just bear with me here. You can see here on May 31st, 2020, they brought in $740 million in revenue. But with that, they lost $4.3 billion that quarter. And then we fast forward to August 31st, so the next quarter, they only brought in $31 million revenue, obviously because they were shut down. And they lost $2.8 billion. Now the reason why they lost less is because they cut costs massively, but $2.8 billion is still a really big loss, and this is really concerning to me. And now just to get an idea of how much money they were making or losing pre-health crisis, because this is going to be important to know if they can pay off the amount of debt they're bringing on. Well, if we look at the two quarters here of November 30th, 2019 and February 29th, 2020, the first quarter here, they actually net profited $421 million. So they made $421 million. And then I don't know what happened with the next quarter after that, but they lost $781 million. So that's really not a good quarter for them. Now, so knowing that they have the potential to make $400 million in a quarter, let's see if they're able to actually pay down the debt. So looking at their cash flow statement here over the last two quarters, you can see they lost 1.8 billion and 4.6 billion, but they financed in total like 21 billion here, cash from financing activities. So this is debt they're taking on. So this math is actually really simple to do and to realize that their business is in a lot of trouble. If we're going to be conservative and let's say they're losing 1.8 billion a quarter over the next 6 months to a year, because best case scenario, the vaccine is going to be announced in the next 2 months, but then for it to actually get rolled out, that's going to take another 6 months to get to the majority of the population. So that would bring us to around summer of 2021. And then let's assume best case scenario, they get to full occupancy by summer 2021. So that would mean they'd be losing 1.8 billion approximately the current quarter we're in right now, and then it'd be Q1 of 2021 and let's say Q2 of 2021. So 3 quarters, that would be around, let's say 6 billion of debt, but they've already burned through about 7 billion in debt. So then to be conservative, because they've financed a lot of extra money to give them some breathing room, but let's just say they have about 13 billion in debt by the end of this. How long would it take them to pay off 13 billion in debt? And that's the best case scenario. Oh, and not to mention, they already had a ton of debt before the health crisis. If we look at their balance sheet, in the year 2019, they had current liabilities of $9 billion. So this is a really capital intense business. So they had a lot of debt, but now they're stacking on something like $13+ billion in debt. It's probably going to end up being a lot more than that. I think this is actually very conservative. So yeah, a lot of debt, but let's try to figure out if they're actually able to service this debt. Well, looking here, we can see their free cash flow over the last few years. In 2016, they had 2 billion, 2017, 2.3 billion, 2018, 1.8 billion. So they're actually getting a little bit worse this last 2018. Then I don't know why 2019 says 46 million. Let's see if something happened in their business. It looked like their operating cash flow was the same. Their investing cash flow was up, so maybe they bought some more cruise ships. That could be the reason for that. Yeah, you can see their capital expenditure was up. So yeah, they probably bought an extra cruise ship or something. I'm not exactly sure, but let's just say around 2 billion in free cash flow a year. So if Carnival Cruise is able to get their business fully running by summer 2021, and they're able to be free cash flow positive of $2 billion, which I don't really think is possible, but again, we're looking at best case scenario here. So yeah, with $2 billion of free cash flow, and with let's say around $13 to $15 billion in new debt, that's going to take around 6 to 7 years to pay off just that debt alone. And that's not including all of the previous debt they had from the years before, which was a lot of debt. So the cruise lines are just drowning in debt now is the issue. So really my reasoning for not believing in the cruise lines long term just comes down to the amount of debt they have collected from this health crisis and the amount of free cash flow that they can generate. It's just not enough to pay off this debt in a timely manner. And yeah, so in my opinion, I think that this business is really in a lot of trouble. And the same thing with the airlines. I think that is partly why Warren Buffett sold his airline stocks. He probably did the math and realized these airlines aren't going to be paying off this debt for a very long time. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is really my reason for not investing in cruise lines or airlines for the long term. But there could be some really good trading opportunities coming up in the next 2 to 6 months with the cruise lines and airlines. So if you haven't seen my last video on Carnival Cruise, make sure to check that out in the description down below. I do have a plan to trade the stock, but as far as a long-term investment, I am definitely staying away from them. So yeah, make sure to let me know in the comments down below what you think of Carnival Cruise long-term and whether you're a buyer or not. And if you are buying them long-term, maybe just let us know why that is. Maybe I'm missing something here, but as far as I can see, there's too much debt and they're just not able to generate enough free cash flow to pay that off in a timely manner. So it would take a long time for investment to pay off, in my opinion. And yeah, that's all I have for this video. So make sure to drop a thumbs up on it and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I do upload almost every day of the week. And thanks for watching till then, guys. I will see you in the next video.